Hello and welcome to Yoga with Marcia. We'll begin today's practice in a comfortable seated position, either crossing your legs in front or sitting on your heels if that's more comfortable. When you arrive and come to stillness, I invite you to close your eyes and begin to bring your attention to your breath. Lengthening the inhale and lengthening the exhale. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Continue to breathe, keeping your breaths at a pace of 4 counts for the inhale and 4 counts for the exhale. And whenever you're ready, opening up your eyes and then laying all the way down onto your back. We'll keep the knees bent. And then bringing the right knee into your chest, you can extend your left leg straight out onto the mat. Interlace your fingers in front of your right shin and start to pull your knee in towards your body, keeping both your shoulders pressed into the mat. If you'd like to come a little bit further into this posture, you can lift your nose towards your knee. Continue to breathe deeply. Continue to pull your knee in towards your chest. And then extending the right leg towards the sky. Imagine pressing your heel into the ceiling. Interlace your fingers behind the right leg. You could start to point and flex the right toes. As you point and flex your toes, notice the sensations you feel down the back of the right leg. And then release your leg and pulling your knee into your chest one more time. Bringing some movement into the hip crease, bringing your shin over to the right and then coming back to the center of the body. Rocking over to the right and then coming back to the center of the body. Really massaging into that hip crease area. And extending your right leg, keep your knee bent and reaching around the outside of the right foot, coming into half of happy baby pose. So we're really bringing some space into the hip here, allowing the right hip socket to open up over to the right. If this isn't available to you, you can always use a strap around the ball of the foot. If you don't have a strap, you can get creative with a towel or anything you might have around the house that you can wrap around your foot. Whenever you're ready, releasing your right foot to the mat, start to bring your left knee into your chest, interlace your fingers in front of your shin, and gently pulling your knee towards you. If you'd like to come a bit further, you can always lift your nose towards your knee. And continue to breathe as we hold wind release. If you have your nose lifted towards your knee, gently relaxing the neck and the back of the head back onto the mat. And taking one more breath. We'll start to extend the left leg towards the sky as you imagine pressing your heel into the ceiling. And then gently starting to point and flex the foot. As you point and flex your toes, noticing all of the sensations down the back of the left leg. And bringing your knee in towards your chest one more time. Starting to rock your leg over to the left and gently coming back to the midline of the body. Rocking over to the left and then coming back to center. Nice and gentle as you massage into the hip crease. And then extending your foot towards the ceiling, keep your left knee bent and reach around with your left hand, grabbing onto the outside of your left foot, coming into happy baby on the other side. Feeling the space created into the left hip. Continue to breathe deeply, keeping all of your attention on the breath and any sensations you might feel in the body. When this starts to feel complete, releasing your left leg all the way to the mat. Bending both your feet, bring your feet all the way to the wide edges of the mat and gently start to rock the knees back and forth. So just like you're windshield wipering your knees from left to right. Moving even slower than you want to. Then bringing the feet back to hip width distance, we'll bring the right foot on top of the left thigh. Interlace your fingers in front of the left shin or behind the left thigh. So we're coming into figure 4. Being mindful here to keep your right foot flexed. We want to protect the right knee joint. So by flexing the foot, we'll protect our joint. Continue to breathe and also bringing your awareness into your glute. Notice the sensations as you pull your left leg in towards you. Releasing your left foot and your right foot to the mat. Switching sides, bring your left foot on top of your right thigh. Interlacing your fingers either in front of your right shin or behind your right thigh. Again, being mindful of the knee joint. So let's keep the left foot flexed this time. And gently pulling your right knee in towards the body. Continue to breathe full, deep, steady breaths. When this side starts to feel complete, releasing both the feet to the mat and gently rolling over to one side, coming up into a comfortable seated position. Sitting up nice and tall, crossing your legs in front, or sitting on your heels if that's more comfortable. And then start to bring your right ear to right shoulder as you roll your neck down in front and over to the left. Rolling the neck down in front, over to the right, down in front, over to the left. Chin to chest. And then pausing as your chin is looking towards the floor. Bring your hands behind the nape of your neck where your neck connects to the very bottom of your skull. Just placing gentle pressure here. And then release and come back to center. Coming into tabletop position. So on all fours, spread the fingertips wide on the mat. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, start to round through the spine, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. Moving with the breath, inhale, lift the gaze, drop the belly, and pull the heart forward. Exhaling to round through the spine, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. Inhaling as you drop the belly, lift the gaze, and pull your heart forward. Exhaling to round through the spine, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. And as you inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, and pull your heart forward. Coming back to a neutral spine position, take the knees wide, send the hips back, and walk your hands all the way forward, bringing your forehead to rest all the way down onto the mat. Keep your arms extended forward and completely relax into the earth, allowing the hips to sink back. Breathing, inhaling all the way into your low back. And exhale as you let go of any stress or tension. Continue to inhale deeply, sending your breath into the low back. And exhaling, letting everything go. Whenever you feel ready, walking both the hands over to the left, stack your right hand on top of your left hand. And we're starting to create space down the right side body, breathing deeply, allowing the ribs to expand. Continue to hold here, staying with the breath. Start to walk your hands over to the right, stacking the left hand on top of the right hand, feeling the space created down the left side body, allowing the ribs to expand on the inhale. Feeling a nice deep stretch. And letting go of all the tension on the exhale. Come back to center, making your way into tabletop. Bring the knees to hip width distance. Tuck your toes under and slowly start to lift your hips, moving into downward facing dog. Keep your knees bent and find length through the spine as you reach your sit bones towards the sky. Start to straighten your legs. If it feels good, walking out the dog, bending one knee at a time. So grounding down through the palms, spread the fingertips wide, lift your sit bones towards the sky. Take a breath here as you pause in stillness, holding your downward facing dog. Continue to breathe. On your next inhale, come forward, coming down onto the knees. Step your left foot forward, coming into low lunge. If you have blocks, it might be easier for you to place blocks underneath your hands. Start to lift your heart. If you're not using blocks, come up first onto your fingertips and then bring your hands onto your thigh. Sinking the hips down towards the earth, feel the stretch down the right hip flexor. Continue to breathe deeply as your muscles begin to relax. Bringing the palms to the earth. Step your left foot all the way to the outer edge of your mat, coming into lizard pose. So bringing both hands to the inside of the foot, allowing the hip to open up. If you're familiar with lizard pose and you'd like to come further into this posture, make your way down onto forearms and start to roll to the outer edge of the left foot. Continue to breathe deeply. If this is too much for you, you can always stay up on your hands. If you're on your forearms, come back up to center position, stepping the left foot back to center, and then coming back into tabletop. Moving into the other side, step forward, find your low lunge, sink your hips towards the earth, just until you feel a stretch down the left hip flexor. Lifting your heart and bring your hands to your right thigh. Find length through the spine, pull the shoulder blades together as you sink your hips even lower. And continue to breathe. And when that starts to feel complete, bring your hands to the mat. Walk your right foot all the way to the edge of your mat and bring both hands to the inside of the foot. Coming into our lizard posture. Staying here where you are on your hands. And if you'd like to come a little bit further, you can make your way down onto your forearms. Start to rock to the outer edge of the right foot. And connecting to the breath if your mind has wandered. If you're on your forearms, make your way back up to center. Step your right foot back to center and then move into tabletop position. We'll start to make our way back into our downward facing dog, lifting up the hips, and then bending one knee at a time, walking out the dog one more time. Inhale, lift the left toes towards the sky. And then bring your left knee behind the left wrist, setting it down. Send your right leg straight out behind your body, even taking a peek back to make sure it's straight out behind you. We'll start to walk the hands forward, coming down all the way onto the mat or allowing your forehead to rest somewhere in front of you. If you have a pillow or some blocks. And coming into a surrender position here. Completely relaxing. Letting go of any tension in the hips. Continue to breathe deeply. Taking note of any sensations that might come up for you as we hold our pigeon pose. And when this starts to feel complete, walking back up to center, tuck your right toes under and lift all the way back up into downward facing dog. Inhale, reach your right toes towards the sky. Come forward and bring your right knee behind your right wrist, setting your hips down on the earth. Send your left leg straight out behind you, taking a peek back to make sure your leg is straight behind the body. Walking your hands forward, coming to rest your forehead somewhere in front of you, whether it's on stacked fists or blocks or even a pillow. Imagine sending the breath into the hips, feeling any tension and stress start to melt away. And continue to breathe into any sensations or emotions that start to come up for you. When this side starts to feel complete, gently coming back up to center, tuck your left toes under and make your way back into your downward facing dog. On your next inhale, come forward, drop the knees, and come up high onto your knees. We're making our way into a back bend, placing your hands onto your low back. Squeeze the glutes. Squeeze your elbows and your shoulder blades together as you lift your heart towards the sky. Keep squeezing the glutes. Press your hips forward and lift your heart up higher towards the sky. Continue to breathe as you lift your heart, feeling the opening in the chest. Keep squeezing the glutes. And then come all the way back up to center, sitting down and back on your heels. Folding forward, reach around and grab onto your heels. Start to lift your hips as you bring your forehead towards the earth, coming into rabbit pose. Feeling a stretch down the back. As you lift your hips and pull against your heels. Gently start to release your hips all the way down onto your heels, and then just relaxing into another version of release your hips all the way down onto your heels and allow your forehead to rest on the mat. Slower than you'd like to, curling up all the way to a seated position. Coming into tabletop, we'll step the left knee over top of the right and bring your feet wide. If you'd like to use a block here, you can place a block underneath your sit bones. We'll sit down and back. So this can be quite an intense stretch on the outside of the thighs. Sitting up nice and tall. And continue to breathe into the stretch. If you'd like to come further in this posture, you can always start to lean your torso forward over your thighs. Otherwise, just sitting up nice and tall, allowing the muscles to relax. And to come out of this posture, we'll roll forward onto our knees, unwind the legs, and then move into the other side, stepping your right knee over top of the left. Spread the feet wide to either side of the room and gently start to sit down and back, using your block to sit on or a pillow if you need to. Sitting up nice and tall, breathing into the stretch. If this is enough for you, you can stay here. Or if you'd like to bring this a little bit deeper, you can start to lean forward over the thighs, keeping the spine nice and long. Really listening to the body, not pushing too far. And gently start to come all the way back up to center, rolling onto your knees. Unwind the legs. And sitting down and back onto the heels. We'll extend both legs out in front. Flex your toes up towards the sky and sit up nice and tall, coming into staff pose. Finding length through the spine, reach the crown of the head towards the sky. Ground down through the sit bones and connect to the breath. Next, we'll be coming into head to knee pose, so bringing the left heel all the way to the edge of the mat. Place the right sole of your foot onto your left thigh. Inhale, reach your arms up towards the sky, and with a long spine, fold forward over your left leg. Start to reach your nose towards your knee, and keeping the spine nice and long, reaching your belly towards your thigh. So we want to avoid any pinching or tightness in the low back. And if you feel those sensations, take a bend in the left leg. On your next inhale, come all the way back up, reaching the arms to the sky. We'll switch sides. Bring your right foot all the way to the edge of the mat. Bring your left sole of your foot onto your thigh and inhale, reach the arms up towards the sky. Keep a nice long spine as you fold forward over your right toes. Think about bringing your belly towards your thigh. Again, we want to avoid any pinching or tightness in the low back. And if you feel any uncomfortability in your low back, take a bend into the right knee. Continue to breathe. On your next inhale, float the arms towards the sky as you sit all the way back up to center. Bring the soles of the feet together. Allow your knees to fall out to either side of the room, sitting up tall to start, and then folding forward over your toes. Think about inhaling to lengthen the spine and exhaling to fold a little bit deeper. And just allowing this pose to become passive, rounding through the spine, allowing the head to become heavy. And as slowly as you possibly can, start to roll up, stacking one vertebrae at a time, lifting the head up very last. Bring the knees together. Walk your feet to either side of the mat, and we'll windshield wiper the knees back and forth, moving slower than you want to. Bring the feet to hip width distance, rolling all the way down onto your back. We'll come into bridge pose. Bring the feet to hip width distance and start to lift your hips towards the sky. Then we'll bring the hands together underneath the body, interlace your fingers, and roll one shoulder back at a time, lifting your heart, creating space all the way down the front of the body. Keep breathing as you hold your bridge pose. Gently start to release the hands and rolling all the way down onto the mat. We'll bring both knees into the chest, wrapping your arms around your shins, tuck your chin in towards your knees. Gently rocking side to side if that feels good on the spine. Giving yourself some love. When that feels complete, start to relax into your final Shavasana. So I invite you to take a moment here and lengthen out the spine by lifting up your tailbone, tucking your pelvis under, rotating it forward, and then extending your legs. Also, rolling one shoulder blade back at a time. Feel the length through the spine as you relax in your final Shavasana. I invite you to close your eyes. Bring all of your attention to your breath. Relaxing your toes, your heels, feeling the feet become heavy, softening the shins and the knees. Let go of any tension in the thighs as you feel them melt away from the bone. Noticing the weight of the hips as you completely surrender into the earth. Feeling the softness of the belly as it moves and flows with the breath. Relaxing the shoulders and the arms. Relaxing the wrists and the palms, all the way out through the fingertips. Allowing the head to feel heavy, softening the cheeks, letting go of any tension in the jaw, and relaxing the forehead. Take this moment and give yourself permission to be completely still and completely relaxed. If the mind starts to wander, gently bringing it back to the movement of the breath. You're welcome to stay in your Shavasana, or if you'd like to transition out of your Shavasana, you can roll over to your right side, pausing in the fetal position. And taking your time here. At your own pace, start to make your way into a comfortable seated position. And we will close our practice today. Bring hands to heart center, and I invite you to close your eyes as you bow your forehead. I invite you to think of all the things that you have to be grateful for. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. Namaste.